Good morning, everybody. News at 10, back again. Interesting news straight off the bat. We're going to be talking about David Moyes, the fact that he has been confirmed as the new West Ham manager. We're going to be going through the back pages. Allardyce, it's the usual suspects in line for the big jobs that are available right now. We're also going to be talking about the very important happenings at the in the courtroom with Blackpool yesterday, and Emenalo, the Chelsea, what was he, director of football? Can't even remember. The fact that he's quit as well. But let's get straight into the back pages. So much to talk about. Kicking off with the Express. Awkward start. Moyes will be working for Hammers Supremo, who branded him a sexist. So that was, of course, there was a...
Karen Brady on The Apprentice, wasn't it?
Yeah, so she wasn't happy with David Moyes last year when he said to a reporter after a Sunderland game, I think her name was Vicky something or other, he said, look, I'll give you a slap even though you're a woman. So that is a bit awkward for David Moyes. Usual suspects, says the Metro. Old faces lined up as West Ham turn to Moyes. Allardyce holds talk with the Everton job. Mirror Sport saying hammered. Moyes facing massive battle to win over the West Ham fans as he's greeted with howls of protest after replacing Bilic. Abramovich body blow. Key ally Emenalo resigns despite Chelsea owners' plea for him to stay. And in the Times, again, it's Abramovich aide quits to rock Chelsea. So let's talk about that very briefly. Emenalo, left yesterday. He's been at the club for 10 years. He's essentially been in control of the transfers of the club. Obviously, it's been a revolving door a lot of the time with the managers that have come and gone. But there was a lot of tension, it seems, between Conte and Emenalo, and him being involved in those transfers when he wants his own squad. It was also interesting that Pirlo retired yesterday. There's been a few rumblings there as well.
That sounds way too romantic. That is not going to happen.
Just quickly on Pirlo as well. Pirlo's career numbers, because he is a god. 872 games, 6 Serie A titles, 2 Coppa Italia wins, 2 Champions League triumphs, and a World Cup success.
And a seriously sexy barnet.
Yeah.
Totally throughout his whole career.
Chelsea fan Craig in the office. He just had a lovely little glow on his face, as he said.
First time he's been smiling in a while.
I know, it's been a long time.
Even though United beat lost to Chelsea.
It's weird, isn't it? He's miserable. Yeah. But a nice little glow on his face as he spoke about Pirlo maybe coming in. As you say, maybe a bit too romantic. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But I think for a lot of Chelsea fans, they're happy that he's gone. What it shows is that was a key ally for Abramovich. He was able, that was his kind of link onto the pitch. He was able to backseat drive through him. The fact that he was there for 10 years says it all. But he's apparently linked with a role at Monaco. Wants a fresh start, so he's decided to resign. Well,
if you look at what happened in the summer with Nemanja Matic joining Manchester United, Conte was always pretty clear that he didn't actually want that to happen, and that the powers that be above him helped force that transfer through. So Emenalo leaving is probably a vote of confidence in Conte.
Yes, absolutely, which I think will make a lot of Chelsea fans very, very happy this morning. West Ham fans probably slightly less happy. On Social Club yesterday, we spoke about Bilic getting the sack. Dan Lawless from West Ham Fan TV was saying, if David Moyes gets the job long term, I'm done. He didn't want him at all. He's got the job, but not long term. Only for 6 months initially. Here is a clip that West Ham, the official West Ham Twitter account, have posted with a little interview with David Moyes. Keep an eye out at the last second. David Moyes does a little look to the left, basically looking to the producer going, is that okay, what I said there? Check this out.
I'm really looking forward to meeting the supporters, being in the stadium with them. I'm looking forward to seeing them getting right behind the team and my team also. We need the support, we need everybody with us. It's a big job we have in hand now, but I'm sure with everybody together we can get the right results between now and then.
I feel so sorry for West Ham fans.
Why?
David Moyes! A man who is the most uninspirational, first of all, looking man in the world, second of all, manager. He has had such a bad record. People go back to what he did at Everton, but since Everton, he's absolutely torn apart 20 years of work at Manchester United, which Fergie did in 7 months. Well done, David. Got the sack early. Then he went to Real Sociedad. He failed there. Then he came to Sunderland, and he managed to get relegated, all of which earns you a job back in the Premier League. I just cannot believe that West Ham's board have done this amid all the protests, and as soon as he goes into this first game, as soon as they go into this first game now, he's he's starting on a back foot.
Yeah, okay, I will give you that. But I think it's going well over the top, people getting so angry about David Moyes. The Sunderland squad, it was on its arse. It was going down regardless of who the manager was.
That's an easy thing to say.
No, I don't think it is. I think he's also had 888 games as a manager. You don't have 888 games as a manager if you're not a decent manager. You don't get the Man United job on the recommendation of Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson.
Biggest mistake ever.
If you're not a decent manager. I agree. Man United was too big a job for him. Absolutely. Sunderland job, he didn't have the tools to do anything. He couldn't. The players that he had to bring in, people like Oviedo, Darren Gibson, that was all he could get. And he was hoping to go with guys that he could trust. It obviously didn't work out for him. For me, the only problem here for me is that I think it's, well, so first of all, I think this is an okay platform for him. I think it's a decent fit. I think West Ham don't work hard enough. They're not defensively solid enough. And I think he'll bring those two things. The board themselves have said he'll bring enthusiasm, not sure about that, but he'll bring organisation, which is the massive thing that West Ham need. And just to say that he's a joke, I think is far too easy. We know...
From my experience of him as a manager, he is an utter joke.
It didn't work out. Anyone going into that job was going to be difficult. Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
There's something I always remember about David Moyes in his time at Manchester United. We obviously had a shit season and he obviously got sacked. But there was a period where we played Liverpool and Manchester City within the space of 7 days. 2 home games against our 2 biggest rivals was considered, the watershed moment. If Moyes could come through these games, he would be able to turn his career around. He did lose both games 3-0, but it was against Manchester City. We went 1-0 down in the first minute. And instead of sticking to his game plan, this is what I mean about him as a manager. His game plan went completely out the window. He changed his entire formation. We had Fellaini and Cleverley playing on the wings, all because we conceded an early goal, which does happen in games. But I don't know. I just don't understand how maybe he is good enough to keep West Ham up. And that's obviously why I've ever appointed him. But
well, let's have a look at the comments, see what you guys think about it. Sean Cleary, I think Moyes will be better than expected, but he won't get back to his Everton best as football's progressed past what gave him his relative success. Farid Udin says West Ham will get relegated. Blue Nose 67, Sunderland were getting relegated. Sunderland's getting relegated again without Moyes, so you can see how much of a sinking ship that was. Let us know in the comments. We'll put a poll card on this video as well once we finish the live. But is David Moyes unfairly treated by the press? Because I think if you've got that much experience, this is a job that will suit him. The one thing that is outrageous for me is that you're giving him a 6-month deal. How can fans go, okay, the board are trying to make that this is their guy if you're giving someone 6 months? I understand why Moyes took the job because he's got no leverage whatsoever after some difficult spells at different clubs. But the board have got to give him more than 6 months to try and put something in place. And for the players to go, oh, this guy's going to stick around for a little while. Because I tell you what, if they lose the next 5 games or whatever it is, they're going to give up.
What are West Ham's fixtures out of interest? Out of interest, in the comments, type yes or no whether you think West Ham will be relegated with David Moyes in charge. Because
absolutely not. They'll be absolutely fine now.
You think they're going to be fine?
Yeah, I think they will. I think he'll give them that organisation. I think if Carroll can stay fit, which is obviously a massive if, they're going to be in better shape. Because they got the best out. He got the best out of Fellaini at Everton. He works well with the big target man up there. I think, and if you've got Antonio, Lanzini, Carroll, then AU as well as a decent footballer, then he will create a more solid defensive base for them.
Yeah, that's not very hard because of how bad it is walking into it. He basically can't make it any worse. But if we're looking at look at West Ham's 6 next fixtures. Watford away to start with. Marco Silva's side playing fantastic football this season. Tough start. At home against Leicester City. That's looking at a game, say, right, we'll win that at home, we'll build some momentum. Then he's going back to Everton. Do you know how bad he was there? That was the job he lost. He lost against Everton that was when he got sacked after as Manchester United manager.
Right.
He just crumbled under the pressure of playing back in what was his home for a long time. So that's a tough game. And then the next 3 fixtures. Man City at home. Man City away. Chelsea at home. Arsenal at home. So he's got City, Chelsea and Arsenal and Everton away in 4 of his first 6 games. as West Ham manager. You telling me that's going to build momentum going into? I
think that's a good first 3 fixtures for him. Watford, they'll be resolute. They'll get a point. At home, they'll beat Leicester.
Losing,
and they'll get a draw against Everton.
They're getting beaten by Watford.
Come on, the Hammers.
No.
Looking at your comments, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some saying no, some saying yes, they could go. Christian Nelson says yes. Leon Diamore says yes. Quite a few saying yes. Paul Gibson saying no. Talibor saying no. They'll finish around 14th, says Tropical Thunder 69. Keep voting and keep commenting. We'll read some more out. Allardyce for Everton is the other one. It really is. If you look at the back page of the Metro, I think that's a perfect headline. Usual suspects. This is a discussion we've been having in the office quite a bit, but the question of, are football clubs just being incredibly lazy now?
Well, yes, effectively, because they could probably be doing work a bit like Southampton. Southampton seem to pull managers out of relative obscurity.
Yeah.
Or they look further afield.
Premier League obscurity.
Yeah, they look further afield than the English shores.
Yes.
And it's worked out for them. You know, Mauricio Pochettino, incredible manager. Claude Puel's come in. He's obviously left. Ronald Koeman's got. You know, Southampton as a club has coped well with a lot of renewal and change. Like the players have left, the managers have left, but Southampton have stayed very stable. And that's coming from a period where they went from near administration under Nigel Atkins, coming the whole way through to where they are now. It's sort of a blueprint for what other clubs could do.
And the blueprint that Southampton have, which other teams don't have, and I can understand why Everton haven't got it at this moment in time, is the fact that Southampton are ready for people to poach their managers, and so they got the next guy lined up, which is something that Everton don't have. David Unsworth, 1 win in 4. I think the general consensus is that he's not the right man for the job long term. A few people hoping that he could get it till the end of the season. But Sam Allardyce is a safe pair of hands. Flav will be delighted as his agent on most videos, putting him forward for most jobs. He'll be getting a cut from that. So we will see. But they're in discussions. It's interesting. Let us know, yes or no, Y or N, and we'll put a poll card up again. Is Sam Allardyce the right man for Everton, or should you be going for someone else? Final one, and this is an important one, close to my heart, because we did a video on Blackpool in the summer, at the end of last season, on the playoff boycott that they did. They were in League 2. They dropped all the way down to League 2 after being in the Premier League in 2010 for one season. For those of you who don't know, it's a gut-wrenching story that we'll put the link in the description to that video, because it tells you the whole story of how they were let down by the Oystons, who are the owners of Blackpool, how they took out 26.7 million over a period of time into their other companies. Yesterday was a momentous day for them because Bellicon, who was another shareholder for Blackpool, he was basically frozen out of the club, and there's a lot of money that he should have got that the Oystons, it seems, funneled out into their other companies. A court has now said that they were wrong and that they needed to pay Bellicon. I'll tell you how much they're paying in just a second, but I wanted to show this clip from that mini-doc that we did, because for Blackpool fans, they've decided to boycott the club and missed out on that playoff final. So just so you can understand the emotion that people like Tim Fielding, who's the chairman of Blackpool Supporters Trust, felt. This is how he was feeling. A little summing up of the situation and what was going on if yesterday they didn't win this court case against Bellicon. Check this out.
One possible trigger this summer in the minority shareholder is just about to start what's going to be a very expensive legal case against the Oyston family. Essentially alleging that the way he's been treated since the rise to the Premiership amounts to unfair prejudicial conduct. And many Blackpool fans hope that action might lead to regime change at Bloomfield Road, because if the judgment against the Oystons is very high, they've got to pay him, and one way of paying him is to sell the football club. It's desperate times, and because I and many other people have made it very clear that we're never going to return under the Oyston regime, and if they stay, that means we're not going to go up to our football club, and actually makes you a bit sad.
So you can see there how difficult it's been for Blackpool fans. They've had to boycott, well, they felt obliged to boycott their home games because they didn't want to put any more money in the Oystons' pockets. And now it's not been for nothing. It's been for something. It's been for £31 million. And the implications of that, as Tim said, was the fact that the Oysters need to find this money now. 31 million quid they've got to give to Bellicon. The courts have made sure that they've frozen their assets for now, so they can't just do a runner. They've got to explain how they're going to pay this money to them, and an obvious way of doing that is to sell the club, hopefully.
And a good thing is that the Oysters are personally liable for this money, so Blackpool themselves aren't liable to pay the 31 million,
themselves, yes,
which is an important thing to understand, otherwise...
Yeah. And it shows that there needs to be justice for the team. As a QPR fan, we did a video the other week, and at least QPR were trying to swallow the debt, or Tony Fernandes was trying to swallow the debt that they had created. This is the absolute opposite of that, where they've reached the promised land of the Premier League, made a hell of a lot of money, and then decided just to take it for themselves. So this is a huge, huge moment for Blackpool. I'm absolutely delighted for them, and hopefully now they'll be forced to sell up, and it's the start of better things for Blackpool. So happy for them.
Fingers crossed for them, mate.
Yeah.
But heading back to the comments, we did ask you about Sam Allardyce and whether you thought he was the right man for Everton. Let's see what you had to say. We've got Berrylicious saying Big Sam would steady the Everton ship that they can bring in a bigger manager. I think far more than what Moyes will steady at West Ham, Allardyce really would steady that Everton team, and it wouldn't be pretty, but Everton would not get anywhere near a relegation scrap. And right now they're down there involved in it unless they turn it around, and someone like Sam could do that. McLaren Nimbus saying Andy Carroll can't wait for Moyes' 84 cross tactic. It's just what Craig is saying off camera there as well.
Sure, put in those 84 crosses. Andy Carroll's going to score some goals and you're going to be going up the league.
He definitely is. Got Paul Gibson saying, hope he is awful though and sews up another relegation spot alongside Palace will make our life easier. That's not very nice, is it?
West Ham United, Mike, not happy with Moyes' appointment, but at the end of the day, anger should be reflected at the board, not David Moyes. He hasn't done anything to deserve any anger the fans are already showing him. I think that's a great point. And the bottom line is, West Ham fans, is I think you'll probably agree with me here, is that you've got to take a deep breath and go, right, this is the guy, certainly for the next 6 months. It is a difficult stadium to get an atmosphere going. It's going to be even worse if you're showing negativity right off the bat. So you need to kind of get together, get behind the team. And if you see him making West Ham more organised, more fit, harder to beat, that is a step in the right direction for me.
Look, right, if by the end of December, West Ham fans don't want Moyes' head on a platter, I'll be very surprised. And I'll genuinely eat my hat, but with the fixtures they've got lined up there, I just don't think that West Ham are going to be heading in the right direction and heading into that new year in any sort of positive light. And as I said, I hope I'm wrong.
What day? When's that then?
You've got, as I said, you've got Everton, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, and you've got Arsenal again in the FA Cup in the Football League. Then you've got Spurs away on the 31st of December, which is actually normally the game where West Ham do turn it on.
True, very true. So, would you like Sam to eat a hat? Hit that like button. If we get over 300, he can give it a go live on air.
I can
do it. Up for it?
Yeah, that's all right.
Fine. Which hat as well? Let us know in the comments. We're on Volley. It's a new social media app. Bull Street puts original content on there all the time. So go check that out. There's a link in the description. Go follow us on Volley. Subscribe to Bull Street. We're here every single morning at 10 a.m. So hit that notification bell so you can join us as we go through the big stories.
We went live at 10 a.m. today.
And we did go live at 10 a.m. So yeah, hit that like button for that alone.
Come on.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'll be in them having a chat all day long. And
thank you all for your comments throughout the show. It's lovely to engage with all of you, so make sure you keep it up.
We will see you. Actually, one last thing. Who is the best of the rest? It's another social club that's going out later today. If Man City are the best team in the league, then who's the best of the rest? That's dropping at 4 p.m. today. So make sure you check back to the Bull Street channel to check that out. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.
Take it easy.